Hello, we are live. Curtis, welcome in. Can y'all hear me? Cool. Keaton, how we doing?
We're good. Happy Wednesday, Kenny.
Happy Wednesday. I just heard like thunder. I'm in Florida, so it's in the summertime, these afternoon thunderstorms. So I really hope that it stays far and I don't lose internet or you'll be here, but we'll be fine. Welcome in, chat. It's been a minute. Let's see. I haven't been live, I'd say, on this account for maybe like a month, which is crazy. It's a long time for me. Let me get a giveaway going here as people kind of pile in. So we're still doing these. Starting to run low on them though, chat. These are the wind up desk. Keaton, did you ever get your hands on these?
No,
All right,
I didn't
well,
know there was an opportunity to.
yeah, we did them, and then I don't know, I ended up getting quite a few of them. So hit me up after the show, and I'll make sure I get you one.
Thank you, Kenny.
You got it. I mean, that's the least we can do, right, for our guests. Oh man, chat. How are we feeling? Where is everybody joining us from today on this Wednesday? Drop in the chat. Ohio, UK. Let's go. Hey Jen, London, Nebraska. Wow, it's going so fast.
I see some New York. I'm also in New York. Hey, New York peeps. I'm in our New York office right now.
Crunchy the Cat King. You like that username, Keaton?
I love that. I have a cat as well.
Yeah, we were just talking about Keaton's cat, her roommate.
Yeah. Sometimes he makes an appearance in my live shows. He just like walks by the camera. It's a big fluffy white cloud.
I got Arlo. I got Arlo the dog. Chat. I think that most of the chat probably knows Arlo at this point, but he's not here. Otherwise, I'd show him to you. He's got big, like he's just a massive, big, fluffy baby. Um, all right. So look, we've got 300 and about 50 folks here. I think this is as good a time to get started as any. Um, First of all, welcome in, chat. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to introduce my guest here in a minute, and then, but before we do so, my name is Kenny, and if you haven't met me yet, I sit on the community team here at Whatnot. Our team is really focused on developing and putting out programs that help educate, inspire, and build connections with our seller community. So we do things like webinars, we do things like IRL meetups, we do other kinds of community program, and then we also have this account here on Whatnot, Whatnot Sellers. So if you're first time here, drop a follow. Bookmark our upcoming shows. We go live here several times a month with some like really fun shows. Sometimes we're interviewing sellers on sort of their success stories, how they did it. Sometimes we talk about community and the role that that plays in a seller's journey on Whatnot. And then sometimes we speak with internal folks. Like today, I've got Keaton here. She's making her big debut on Whatnot Sellers. I had thought that she had been on before, but I guess I was mistaken because I feel like I've seen her a lot in like at work stuff. So I guess I just assumed like she'd already been here. But I'm super happy to have you here, Keaton. Welcome to Whatnot Sellers chat. Let's show some love for Keaton, first timer. Um, yep, debut.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, super happy to have you. Keaton is the best, chat. So Keaton, why don't, for the ones, for all these folks here who may not know you, you want to just maybe give us a little bit about your role here or whatnot, maybe, sort of what do you do on a day to day, maybe your favorite, most recent purchase, favorite category, give people a little insight into you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Keaton. I'm a member of the product team. I've been at Whatnot for a little over 3 years now. And I've worked across a lot of different areas. The business has evolved a ton over the last 3 years, so I've gotten to see a lot of cool things. I've worked on the seller experience side to auctions to payments. So there's definitely a lot of fun stuff there. My favorite category, it changes every month. I will say for the past month, I've been very into beauty, especially sellers doing flash sales. What I do is I just get all these travel size beauty products and use them as samples, and I'll get like 20 of them or something, give them to friends, take them traveling with me. It's so much fun.
I love that. Yeah, shout out to all the beauty sellers. That's one of those fast growing categories that has just kind of become massive recently. So for folks who don't really know maybe what a product manager is at Whatnot, can you briefly explain sort of what does your day-to-day look like? What are your primary responsibilities, that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So the aim of our product management team is to provide the best possible experience for our users. And that's really from every facet. So for sellers, this means enabling you guys to meaningfully grow your business, but also having fun connecting with the community. So a lot of my day-to-day is really around listening to users, talking to users in in-depth interviews, reading through support inquiries, in emails, analyzing data, and of course, trying out the product myself. We really want to make sure we understand what the day-to-day looks like for you so we can help make it better. And so as we're doing all of this, we're also working with our design teams and our engineering teams to think through what are the right experiences, trying some of these out in prototypes, perhaps even testing with some users as well, and iterating on that. So that's why I love forums like this, is because it's really a great opportunity to connect with the user base we're talking to every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the product manager role at Whatnot is a super, super fun, exciting role. I mean, you're literally building the future of commerce in a way, which is like a big responsibility. And I think you guys do so. You have such talented people across the product team that it's just from my POV, it's been really fun just to watch how you guys operate. You know, the rate, like the frequency at which you're able to roll out and like ship out new features is just like makes my head spin. Um, so yeah, I don't know how you guys do it, but kudos to you all. Okay, chat. Now that we know a little bit about Keaton, a little bit about the Whatnot sellers account. Again, welcome thank you for joining us. What we're going to do today is unpack our recent product blog post. So if I've got a mod, if Casey, if you're here, can you please drop the link to our the URL to our Whatnot blog for folks who may not have seen it before. The Whatnot blog is thank you so much. The Whatnot blog is a really great resource, chat, to just learn about new things, read about exciting content that's happening on the app, events on the app, new features, Whatnot news. It's kind of like your source of truth for all things Whatnot. So definitely recommend maybe bookmarking that, checking it out, reading some of the information there. And then today we're going to unpack the blog post that we rolled out yesterday. Am I lagging, chat? I feel like I might be a bit laggy. Appreciate that. Okay, cool. Now it's just on my end. So yeah, we're gonna just unpack sort of all the things that we laid out in the product blog post yesterday. There's some really exciting updates for sellers here. We're talking about a new weekly report, seller home on desktop, and better order and shipment search. And so, Keaton, from your perspective, what's the overarching goal or philosophy that ties these different initiatives together?
Yeah, great question. I would say it's probably around empowering efficiency through information. So, taking a couple examples here with the weekly orders reports, we know that sellers need more order information to understand the financial health of their business so that they can understand key trends in sales. We know that sellers have a ton of tasks that they're responsible for, and they need a summary of what actions are most pressing for them to take right now, which is why we introduced the seller homepage. And then for seller search, we know that you all need to quickly find specific orders and shipments to reply to buyer inquiries and fill orders ASAP. So all the product updates we're talking about today are an effort to meet those needs and help you guys be more efficient in your day-to-day so you can focus on the best part, which is connecting with buyers.
Awesome. And I'm seeing a few mentions here that were a little laggy. Kiyomi, I can tell that the Zoom is not lagging on my end, so it might be a little Wi-Fi situation on your end at the office. Not sure if there's anything we can do about that, but either way, the show must go on. So let's kind of deep dive. First of all, chat, if you've got any questions about any of these three topics that Keaton and I are going to dive into, like specific questions about these new features, please drop them in the chat. We've got Casey from the community team here sort of capturing those questions and putting them aside for us so that we can get to as many of them as possible towards the end of the show, which is usually what we do here. So please, like if you miss something is unclear, or you just have a question, please drop it in the chat. We will only be taking questions that relate to these features. Okay, with that, let's dive into it. So first deep dive will be on weekly order reports. Chat, sellers in the chat, have you all heard about this yet? These weekly order reports? No. Yes. A lot of no's, couple yeses. Okay, good. You're in the right place. So basically, this is an easy to download report that breaks out your costs as a seller and your earnings all the way down to the order level. So it really gives you like this really granular perspective that we hadn't had yet on sort of your profit, your profit, how all the commission is structured, the fees are structured, what your take home is, all that. So super, super visible. Keaton, can you tell us a little bit about this report and specifically the information that it provides?
Yeah, of course. So the main goal with this report is to enable sellers to better understand their whatnot business. We have a ton of analytically minded sellers who want to dig deep into the details. So that's why we're giving you enhanced access to financial data so you can get the insights you need to thrive. So what exactly is in this report? So firstly, the format of this report is a CSV, which is organized as a data table. It's best used in a spreadsheet editing tool like Excel or Apple Numbers, or my personal favorite, Google Sheets, which is free for everyone with a Gmail account. So when you look at this table in the CSV, we're going to have each completed order represented as a row, and then we have product and financial information represented as columns. This includes things like the product title, the description, category, the show it was sold in, the buy format like a bin or an auction, the buyer username. Then we also have financial information. So that includes what the final sale price of the item was. Did the buyer use a seller coupon? How much was it? How much did the buyer pay, including tax and shipping? How much commission did Whatnot take? What were the payment processing fees? And what does this all mean for your net earnings? So all of this information has actually been previously available on Whatnot, primarily in seller receipts. But the difference is that this report allows you to export information in bulk so you can analyze a large quantity of data instead of opening up each of those orders one by one. One thing to flag too is we not only include a breakdown for orders in this report, but we're also including what we call order-related transactions. So this includes order refunds, additional shipping costs, like a label adjustment fee that you pay for after the shipment, and tips as well. So this way you can aggregate all of your inventory revenue and costs into one place. We've seen a couple messages on where exactly we can find this report. So this is available on Seller Hub desktop web. And when I say desktop, I mean it can be a laptop or a desktop, just a computer where you go onto whatnot.com. You will navigate to the Finances tab from your seller profile menu and then click on the Statements and Reports tab. It should default to show the weekly orders report. If you don't see it right now, don't freak out. We're still in testing and aligned with our product philosophy, or kind of in beta mode here. So not everyone has access right now. That said, we plan to have it available to all sellers in the next few weeks. So just hang tight.
Amazing. Thank you for the raid, Coffee with Rog. Appreciate that. Yeah, look, there's a lot of information there that Keaton just kind of covered. So, and I saw a couple of folks say, hey, is there a tutorial? Is there somewhere that I can see like an overview of this? So I would say, definitely there is going to be a help article on our help desk. So Case, if you could please pin I think it's help.whatnot.com, the URL for our help. It's basically there you go. Thank you, Casey. It's basically like a search-based browser. So you would just search, reports, weekly reports, order reports, and you'll find your article there that goes into like super, super detail, what it looks like, what you can see, how it works, et cetera, et cetera. So again, the idea here, Chad, is just to kind of make you aware of it, tell you a little bit about it at a high level. But please, we do encourage you to definitely take it for a test drive in your own seller hub, explore, discover it, play around with it. And then, if you want to learn more about it, you can, of course, go to our help article and check it out. Yes, Casey is the GOAT. That is true. That is a fact. Um, awesome. So Keaton, thank you for that. What inspired us? You know, there's a lot of things that we could be building. What inspired us to build this? What were some of the challenges sellers were facing prior to having this when trying to understand their financials? And how does this report provide a solution for that?
Yeah, so this report is the response of a feedback from a ton of sellers. So thank you so much for sharing your suggestions and insights. Please keep them coming. We love developing features for you guys. One of the most common requests that we got, especially as sellers were experiencing a lot of growth on Whatnot, was a need to dig in deeper to their sales figures. So right now we do show aggregate sales and earnings in the analytics tab in the Seller Hub. But we were getting a lot of requests for sellers wanting these metrics available at the order level. They wanted this information also to be available in bulk in something that could be exported so they could perform their own calculations, especially sellers with tons of orders that just are trying to derive general trends from these. So when we asked them exactly why they wanted this information at the order level, they said it was mostly because of the following challenges. One was there was confusion over what the take-home earnings were for a certain order or a certain show. So you see that an item sold for X, but your earnings are Y. What's the delta there? How can we clearly explain the fees and commission and any sort of shipping costs, which is what that report highlights. We also found that there is a need for sellers to find out what products are performing best. Without bulk level order information, you couldn't easily match earnings to the cost of goods sold to understand margins at scale. And this was pretty critical information to make future inventory decisions. And then finally, we found that this report was necessary for sellers just to have the basic building blocks to make a P&L, which is a profit and loss statement. And some of their accounting partners actually required to have this information at the order level too. So we built this report because we wanted to give sellers a better understanding of their needs and be able to meet those challenges.
That's awesome. Keaton, how long have you been here at Whatnot now?
3 years, 4 months.
Yeah. So remember, like pre-seller hub, like where there was no seller hub, never mind reports and this level of information. It's so cool to see these tools kind of come live and just empower our sellers to run their businesses just more efficiently and like just like legit big businesses that they've become, which is like so cool to see. So again, shout out to you and the team for building this stuff. It's so cool. The blog mentions weekly order reports provide sellers with key data insights and tools to help them better understand their business. Can you walk us through like a specific scenario? How might the weekly order report help a seller, you know, improve or grow their business? Like, can you give us maybe like an example?
Yeah. So the great thing about this report is you can run whatever type of analysis you want. We're just giving you the data, and there's endless possibilities there. Personally, some things that I would be looking forward to the most would be one, calculating your average earnings at the product level. This was something I kind of alluded to before, but let's say you have 10 of one product and you run each as an individual auction in a show. Odds are the final auction amounts are probably going to vary, but you want to know what the average sale price is across all of those 10 items so you can understand what your average take rate is going to be. That can help inform whether or not that item works for you and if you should invest more in that type of product. So it's getting margins at the product level or SKU level. Something I'm also really excited for is the ability to analyze data by buy format, including flash sales. So you can compare what's the average price of an auction versus a buy it now. How about a regular buy it now versus a flash sale? This can help you understand what types of shows you want to host. We've also heard a lot of requests for more cost data. So we have had sellers asking, what costs are the biggest detractors of my top line sales? What are my shipping costs across giveaways, seller sponsored shipping, any sort of shipping adjustments? So in addition to breaking down the commission and fees automatically deducted from your order sale, this report also breaks down more supplemental costs like post-show shipping fees, like label adjustments. So you can easily look at all your costs from the week and be like, all right, my sales were X, my earnings were Y, and this is the reason why there's a discrepancy.
So basically supercharges your ability to understand your business Let me ask you a question. Can I, you mentioned like SKU level or item level analysis, which is really cool. I'm curious, like if I'm a seller and I sell in snacks, but I also sell in, sneakers. Can I filter my by category and then like look at, category specific data for me to understand like, oh, wow, wait a minute, I'm doing much better in sneakers. Maybe I should double down there. Just kind of like that sort of thing.
Totally. Yeah. So as soon as you export that into a spreadsheet editor like Google Sheets or Excel, you can easily just add filters to the top and select what product categories you want. There's a column that says product category. You can even do that at the show level as well. So if you just want to compare all orders in one show, you can filter on that show. You can filter on a sub-selection of specific shows. Filters are definitely your friend here.
That's so awesome. That's yeah, it's always cool to see like how sellers take the stuff that you all build and then use it in creative ways that we haven't even thought of yet. So I can't wait to see sort of what our sellers cook up with all this information, and like how it comes to life. And it'll be fun to see. What if a seller wants to compare their sales and earnings from different live shows?
Yeah, so again, that's probably where like the filtering comes in handy there is you can one filter on just a show or a specific set of shows, but you can also do some calculations, for example, to sum up all the sales by show or calculate average by show. So it's going to be really easy to do that, especially if you either use filters or do something like creating a pivot table or something on Excel.
Okay, amazing. Um, Also, chat, if you miss something that we say here, I know we're covering a lot of information. Soon you'll be able to watch some of these Whatnot Seller shows on YouTube after the fact. I know that we got rid of past shows, but we want to make sure that this kind of content is available to y'all forever, or as long as you need it. And so we hope to have this in the near future available for consumption after. Looking ahead, without giving away any secrets, are there any future iterations or features for this report that you guys are going to build upon, or something that you're really excited about? Can you tease anything there?
Yeah, so we're really excited about reporting. There is a ton of opportunity here. We're just scratching the surface. Ideally, next steps would be more on-demand reporting. And by that, I mean you can customize the information that you want to see. So you select a specific date range, or you say you only want orders from these shows, or only orders of this category, or orders that sold for more than X. And then you can just generate a CSV that only contains orders meeting those parameters. Ideally, we'd not only have that exported into a CSV, but also provide more in-product analytics experiences if you don't want to necessarily do the calculations yourself in Excel. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities for us to educate sellers and bring them more business insights in product. And that's something we're excited to explore more in the future.
Yeah, I just, as you're saying that, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I remember when we launched Seller Hub in its first iteration, right? And like what it is today compared to what it was when we launched it is like orders of magnitude just more robust and more like functional. So I feel like this will be the same, a similar thing. Like we're launching a V1, it's very good. We think you're going to get a lot of utility out of it, but again, as we continue to scale and improve all of these features, like this is just the beginning of what these reports will be able to offer sellers. So really, really excited to see how you all kind of take that and play, like, evolve it and make it even better and better. Um, okay, that was a lot on those reports, which is very exciting. I think now we can turn to Seller Home on desktop, which is also something super cool. This is going to be rolling out over the next few weeks, chat. And so stay tuned for that. But we just launched it on mobile last month. Can you recap what that feature is and how it supports sellers and managing their tasks?
Yeah. So we know sellers are very busy. That's an understatement. But from finding inventory that your buyers are going to love to setting up shows, making listings, fulfilling shipments, going live, dealing with customer issues, there's so many activities to stay on top of. Yeah, it's a lot. And we really want to help more with this. So the Seller Home dashboard summarizes what are the most important tasks that you need to complete ASAP. It'll highlight what shows are upcoming, what shipments you need to fulfill, and when they're due at the post office. What open customer service inquiries do you have from your buyers? and also gives you a snapshot of your account health standing. Specifically on the shipment side, we know that staying on top of all your shipments can be particularly challenging, especially if you're going live multiple times a week, maybe even in a day. So to help with this as part of the rollout, we're also working on a new shipments manager view in the Whatnot mobile app on iOS or Android. So this feature is still testing, but should be rolled out to everyone soon. And in this view, you'll be able to see a list of shipments that you need to fulfill, all from the Whatnot app. We've also added info about when these shipments are due at the post office, so you can keep track of what packages need to be dropped off ASAP and when you're at risk of potentially delay. So by using the seller home to keep track of more pressing actions, we really want to make your day-to-day easier so you can focus more on just providing a great experience for your buyers.
Yeah, and I look, this has been super helpful for me as well. I'll just tell you feedback, my own personal feedback, like being able to log in and at a glance, right, very quickly see like what actions I need to take as a seller, or kind of what are the things coming down the pipe, like oh my God, I have a show like on Saturday. Sometimes I really do schedule a show and I really do forget it's coming up. And then this is just kind of like a quick look, almost like a dashboard or a command center where you can go and then like if you need to take action on a shipment, on an order, on an offer, a show, whatever, like it tells you that right there. And so it's kind of like your first line of defense against any sort of action that you might need to take as a seller. I also add that, like, I think from a design perspective, it's very easy to understand. And I think y'all knocked it out of the park. So again, awesome work. Chat, if you haven't seen it yet, you're a seller. How can, yeah, how can sellers find this on mobile? Like if they haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, so given that this page summarizes a lot of critical information, we really want to put this front and center. So right on the bottom navigation bar, when you open up the app, the center button called Seller Hub leads you directly to the seller homepage, and you can access a lot of other seller tools from there.
Incredible. Okay, so now that it's available on mobile, when is it going to be fully available on desktop? And then what does it mean for sellers and what feedback from the community drove that decision?
Yeah, so right now I believe it's still in testing on desktop, and we're hoping to roll out really soon, maybe in the matter of even like a week or so. The reason why we developed this not only on mobile is on desktop is because we have a lot of seller diversity in terms of how they use the mobile app. You know, a ton of sellers rely very heavily on whatnot.com to run their business,
Mm.
from managing shipments to generating labels, listings, even going live with OBS. So our goal with the homepage was we really want to meet sellers where they are and make sure that however they've constructed their workflows, we're giving tools that can support them, and that aren't causing them to do anything new. And so that's why we knew that if we built this on mobile, we'll also have to build it for the sellers who rely heavily on web. And if you do want to see this page on web, it's pretty easy. You just go to whatnot.com, open your profile menu, and select Seller Hub.
Awesome. Thanks, Keaton. Super cool. I think we can move on. Also, chat, I want to just remind you all, if you have any questions about either the weekly order reports, or the new seller home, or what we're about to talk about, which is better order and shipment search, which is really a nice quality of life improvement. Please drop it in the chat. Like I said, we're capturing as many questions as we can, putting them aside, and we'll do our best to address as many of them as we can towards the end of the show. Okay, so let's pivot here, Keaton, to better order and shipment search. Appreciate the raid. Thank you for the raid. Which we'll be rolling out over the next few weeks. So not quite out yet, but we do want to give you a heads up that this is coming down. By the way, I've heard a lot of requests for this type of feature. So I think this is going to make a lot of sellers very happy. What data or seller feedback sort of drove this decision? What is the better order and shipment search?
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this product as well, maybe even unreasonably so. But It's a really big quality of life improvement that I think is genuinely going to make a really big impact in efficiency. So whenever we would do seller visits and interviews, this frequently came up as a top three pain point is it takes forever to find a specific order or shipment. I'm having a lot of issues. This means responding to customers or completing fulfillment takes me or maybe even my team if I'm a bigger seller, it takes them so much time. So the goal of this work was to make it significantly faster for sellers to find specific orders or shipments that you're looking for. So previously, we just had search on the shipments page, and the options to search were a bit more limited, and you could only search one page at a time. So it was really challenging if you had a massive show and you had a ton of orders, then you're like parsing through 50 pages and have to search each page. That was super frustrating. And then the orders page didn't even have search. We heard some of you guys were doing like Control F on your keyboard and typing in the search term wasn't on the page, going to next, doing Control F again and looking again, which just is super tedious and not how we want you guys to have to spend your time. So the worst part of this was it made it harder for you guys to resolve specific buyer requests. And so you weren't able to provide the type of customer service you want as fast as you want. So let's say like a buyer DMs you, they're one of your big buyers, they buy from you a ton, and they say, hey, I have a question about a Tom Brady single that I bought. And so you could look up the buyer by username, but then you're left with like 100 different orders. So you're scanning for the keyword Tom Brady in every line. Or what we've heard a lot is a lot of sellers number their items in a show. And then after fulfilling, they'll see like item number 54 is left on the table and somehow got left out of the shipment. But we have no idea what shipment it's left out of because we can't search number 54. And so that was really frustrating then for them to check every shipment and see where it's missing. So yeah, it's all about time efficiency here and improving the quality of life, which we know makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and for the rec, I don't think you're unreasonably excited. I think this is actually a big deal. Like you can see the chat is like, holy, like yes, like they're super excited as well. It's just like one of those, ones that is just going to unlock tremendous efficiency. And yeah, makes a lot of sense. Chat, I'm also getting word from DJ who says, this is in fact out on shipments on web, and it's out for a seller's orders on web, iOS, and Android. So it is out now. It is out now. So that's a hot update from DJ, who is an engineer who worked on this stuff, so he knows. Sweet.
And on mobile too. It's out on mobile for the orders page on mobile.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, it's out now. You don't even need to wait. You could go test it right away. The latest blog post mentions, this feature update now offers sellers a broader range of search terms to access orders and shipments. So can you tell us what types of search terms can sellers use here specifically?
Yeah. So we've updated a lot of our search term capabilities. Before we get into that too, we've also made some structural updates to search. So as I mentioned before, you can search more than one page at a time right now, which should save users a ton of time because you can just search across all orders or all orders in a show if you're selected on a specific live show. We also fixed an issue where the live stream dropdown would flip to another show every time you did a search. That is no longer a thing. And so in addition to more of those structural issues, we've also enabled new search terms. So I think one of the most useful ones will be the keyword search in a listing title or description. So
Sure.
type in Tom Brady, Lululemon, number 54, size medium, or a lot of sellers actually have a unique SKU code that they put in the description. I can just copy and paste that SKU code and then it pulls up that exact item. Or if I am using a shared SKU for a certain number of products, I can just paste in that key and it'll return all the products that have that SKU. I can filter on all shows if I want to see it that entire sales history of that product as well. So there's a ton of capabilities here. Again, kind of in similar with the weekly orders report for you to unlock a lot of product sales insights. We've also introduced a partial buyer username search. What that means is you don't have to type in the full username of a buyer to start to get results. So you can just type in the beginning part. So instead of typing in whatnot warehouse, I could just type in the prefix, which is whatnot, which should hopefully save you a ton of time because we got some long usernames out there and and it's definitely easy to make a typo. And then, of course, we have our existing capabilities from Shipment Search, which is where you can search by order ID or shipment ID. And what we've done with all of this is we've expanded these search capabilities not only on the shipments page, but we've added a search bar to the orders page. So now you can do this all on orders. So if you want to look up order level information, you can go to the orders page and not have to use the shipments page. And if you want to use the shipments page, you could still do that.
So cool. These updates are just, I think they're huge. Like, I think all three of them, I'm just sitting thinking about what this unlocks in terms of like, look, we want our sellers to be able to sell as much as possible and reduce sort of the administrative burden on the back end, right? Because that's better for them and it's better for us. And so these three things, I think, all do that, in a significant way. So sellers in the chat, are you hyped about these new features? So we got some excitement in the chat. I'm happy. I really do think that these are going to just these are some of the things that I've been hearing sellers ask for quite some time. So you asked for it and you got it. And, that's very much in line with our philosophy, right? On the product side, maybe Keaton, you can speak to that a little bit. Sort of how does user feedback influence our roadmap?
It is incredibly influential, if not like the key driver for all product decisions. We have a strong philosophy around building something that users actually want to use and that actually solves their problems. And that's why you've seen like a lot of the new features that we've spoken about today being in testing mode. We do that because we want to test with actual users and get feedback on whether or not it's solving their problems. Because if it's not, we want to fix it. So
Yeah.
the feedback coming, yeah, it's what Whatnot has been based off of, and a tribute to so much of the success today is because we've had such a passionate community who's offered such strong feedback in terms of how we can make their business better, which thus like makes the Whatnot app even more fun to use. So keep it coming.
Yeah, totally. Even here, chat, like, your comments here, yes, we're not addressing at the time. We couldn't do that, but we do download the chat transcript. We do go through it. Every single comment here will be looked at, and then all the relevant ones will go to the respective teams so they know that feedback. It's like it's very much part of the Whatnot culture here. It's like it is not a cliche that we listen to our customers fanatically, and like, yeah, you guys know what you need, and so it's such a gift to get all this feedback, and we really appreciate it. It just helps us do better. Keaton, how you feeling about pivoting to some questions we got from the chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
Want to do it? All right, cool. Also, chat, if you do have questions for Keaton about weekly order reports, new seller home, search, shipments, and orders, please drop those questions in the chat. We could probably add a few more to the list I have here. But let's kick it off. So the first question here comes from, let me see, one Peach, I think. Where is the report found? Seller report.
Yeah, so that'll be found in the Seller Hub. Again, it's still in testing. So we hope to roll it out to 100% users in the next few weeks, but that'll be in the Seller Hub. It'll be in the Financials tab. So the Financials tab is where you request payout to transfer money to your bank. And that's also where you can look at your ledger. We're adding a new tab within the Financials page called Reports and Statements. And when you click on that, you'll see the weekly order reports. That's also the same page where you can look to find your monthly statements and your annual statements that you use for tax filings.
Okay, great. Next question comes from GA Open Box. Will this be available as a monthly report as well? My accountant does everything by the month.
Yeah, that's a common request, and that's definitely something we're looking into and hoping to follow up with in the future. The reason why we did weekly for now was We know this information is really useful for a lot of sellers in the short term, and we didn't want them to have to wait for the end of the month to get some of this feedback and start running the analyses. But we also understand that a number of accounting teams in different sorts of seller organizations think about things more monthly. So we're working on a monthly view. For now, I would just recommend downloading the different weeks and truncating and copying and pasting accordingly.
Totally. Awesome. Next question, and we're going to do these a little bit rapid fire. So thank you for, I know I'm coming at you quick with these questions. Next one is live, laugh, leaves. The search doesn't work for me. What is the best way to search? Keywords or numbers?
That's strange. We will definitely investigate that, and especially now that we know your username and see if there's like a technical issue right there. But make sure that you're actually either selected on a show that has orders. Sometimes it can default to like an unfulfilled view, and if you've fulfilled all your orders, that's not going to show any shows. So make sure you've cleared all your filters. Keywords in the title, description, or numbers should work, but it should match any of those. So we'll check out your account and see if there's any issues, but thanks for flagging.
For sure. Next question is coming from Aura Lagoodsco. Will there be a video tutorial on these new product features?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Right now, there's definitely help center articles
Hmm?
that do show some step-by-step processes, but not necessarily a video quite yet. I think as we roll these out, that's a great piece of feedback that we can work on with the video team. So Kenny, let's take that as an action item.
Yeah, for sure. And again, this feedback, these questions don't sort of end after the show. Like we take it, we compile a report, and we suggest all these things. So thank you for that. Shelby Chic says, does the report take into account the cost of goods, the cost of the product? So that's a great question, and yeah, we should reiterate it does, right?
Yeah, so right now we do have a cost of goods or COGS field on listings. This is one of those optional fields where if you want to record cost information for your own purposes, you can put it there. It's never something that a buyer is going to see. So if you do fill out that cost of goods field, yes, that will appear in a column in the report. If not, if you record like the cost of good elsewhere, let's say you have like a third-party inventory system, my recommendation would just be to include some sort of unique identifier on all the products, like a SKU number, and then you can match those costs with the actual sale price on the orders report to then compare cost of goods against final sale.
Yeah, and again, just want to reiterate that this is, when you create your item, your listing, there is a field that is optional that you could, just like Keaton said, that you can enter your cost of the item, right? So if I know I paid, $5 for this thing, I could add that to the listing, and then when I get the report, it takes that into the account, gives me my profit, my percentage, which is super helpful. So if you haven't been doing that, maybe experiment with doing that and see how that sort of benefits you. Okay. Next question from Italian 4215. When will stream reports include the purchase breakdown, i.e., shipping fees, coupons, totals, etc.?
Okay, so I think that question is referring to the live stream report, which is actually a separate report than the weekly orders report that we're talking about. So for those that don't know, we have another reporting function. When you go to the shipping page, you can click generate live stream report, which gives you a CSV. This mostly has product and shipping information. It includes the sale price, but it doesn't include any cost information. I like how you bring this up because there's definitely an opportunity to unify some of these reports and make that cost information more transparent. That's something we're looking into, but for now, we're keeping the live stream CSV just focused on product information for fulfillment. But you can definitely match the two reports just by connecting order ID.
Awesome. Thanks, Keaton. This next one's not so much a question as it is a suggestion. I appreciate the suggestion. It's coming from Deep Theory, who says, can we make it possible to cancel orders that don't process payment during a live show so I can rerun the listing and not have to create it from scratch? So
Nice.
again, great feedback that, I will take back and share with the team. Keaton, anything to add beyond that?
Yeah, I would just say we are looking into different solutions around payment failures. We know it's a big pain point. It's super frustrating when someone's payment fails, and then that means you either have to resell it or maybe they fix it and then you already resold it. So that's something that we're looking into fixing in the future. But appreciate you suggesting that.
Wow, awesome. Okay, let me see. So this is an interesting question from Best Bargain. I can take this one. Best Bargain Bin saying, how and where can we find out about certain webinars or the meetups that you mentioned earlier? So what I can say is stay tuned on that. It's actually like a very timely question I could tease out. There's going to be a meetups hub coming soon where you'll be able to find meetups that are happening in different areas and RSVP for those. But in the meantime, if you are interested in maybe hosting a seller meetup, feel free to email us at community@whatnot.com. This is something that we've been, doing small ones here and there, learning, testing, and starting to scale. So it's a really, really exciting question. Personally, it's something that our team is looking to do on a larger scale in the future. So again, hit us up, community@whatnot.com, if you yourself are interested in hosting one of these events in your local area. Let's see. Miracle 215. How can I personally give a return to a buyer who isn't happy? Sometimes they reach out to me and I want to help them. So I think this is like perfect setup again for customer service, which will be coming soon. You want to maybe talk about that a bit?
Yeah, so this is something we're actively working on right now and really excited for. We're calling this program customer service. It's still in the early stage of testing with some sellers, but we'll be expanding to all sellers soon. And the purpose of this is so that you can handle returns on your own and how you like. So what'll happen will be a buyer can request a return, and then you can either deny that request, or if you accept that request, you can decide whether or not you want to ship them a brand new item. If you want to just give them a partial refund, whether or not you want to give them a full refund. There's a lot of different options that you can do there, and we're still kind of developing more. So we definitely want to give you guys the power to make sure that you're taking care of your customer experience, and that should be rolling out in the future.
Yeah, and I can also say that I have been testing it on my account, and it is awesome. It's so cool because look, I want to manage my business. Like I want to own. I can like customer service to me is somewhere where I can differentiate myself and excel like as a seller. Like it's a competitive advantage if you offer really good customer service, right? Like we all know, we've all been to places, restaurants or businesses that left you some customer service that really like you went home and you told your friends and family about. Like, well, now as a whatnot seller, you'll be able to offer that yourself, right? So we want you to have that ownership of your business from A to Z, right? And this really does allow that. And a lot of sellers that are like love it, and they think that it's again another way for them to own their business, and handle their customers, and it's great. So stay tuned for more there. That one's going to be big too. um let's see. Elite Legacy is asking, we've got two more questions, chat, and then we're gonna wrap it. We're gonna do a raid as usual. We're gonna raid a seller, so stay tuned, please. Elite Legacy says, where can I see cost of goods or SKUs during my show?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I believe that should be available on the listing view, on the listing details. That being said, it's hard to access your listing details while you're going live because you're just searching through your store and hitting different things. And so that's a great piece of feedback to share with our team who's running the live store, is surfacing this information so it can be more easily accessible. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's a great piece of feedback. I mean, I can in my mind, I visualize like how we have the gross sale ticker and the number of orders and the show. Like we have that little live dashboard for sellers. Maybe that would be a good place to like write the cost of good of the item that's pinned or So love that feedback. Again, all this feedback chat, we really genuinely, it's great. Like it's so helpful for us to kind of go through and figure out what is relevant, and what is are there things that we're hearing frequently, like things like that. And so appreciate that. Keaton, this one comes from Country Road Co. How
Mhm.
can we print a report of everything we've purchased on the app for tax purposes?
Yeah. So on whatnot.com on your computer, if you go to purchases from your profile menu, you'll have an option to download a CSV that contains all of your purchases. If you have purchased a ton of things and that report is really big and you're having trouble downloading, please write into support. We have a way to download it faster on our end and send it back to you. It should work for most people, but we know some of you are very active Whatnot buyers and have a lot of purchases. So, yeah, but that information should all be there.
Awesome. Oh man, this has been great, and so much excitement from the chat on these features, which is so nice to see. Keaton, anything you want to sort of end with before I wrap? Is there any closing remarks or any thoughts?
Yeah, I would say that just reiterate that all of these products came from seller suggestions and feedback of either you saying, I want this, or saying, hey, this is the toughest problem for me, and us working with sellers to figure out what the right solution is. So please keep it coming. We love to hear from you. We do take a very active note to all user feedback posted in any forums, and just say thank you to everyone who's really helped us delivering this. We hope to keep driving value for you guys.
Thanks, Keaton. Yeah, and I second that. Say thank you. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for spending some time with us here today and caring enough to give us that feedback. We're in this together, and it's really exciting to kind of see all these new things that started as a feedback here and there, and then the team took it back and started to develop it and scope it out and test it, and now it's like here live. It's really cool to see that. And also, chat, can we please give it up for Keaton? I will tell you, Keaton might be one of the more busiest. Like, she is busy. Like, she's got a lot going on. Building all this stuff is very challenging. But when we asked her if she would be down to come on here, she was like, "Of course, I'd love to." And so, she's a real one. We appreciate you, Keaton. Um, the chat appreciates you, and yeah. So look, chat, I'm gonna draw this giveaway in a second, and then when after that, I got somebody we're gonna raid. We're gonna be raiding Amanda. Let me copy this. Amanda Lost Treasures, I think. One second. Let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, Amanda Lost Treasure Found. Um, and this seller, we're gonna rate in. We're gonna say what's up. Chat. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. Just show some love. Show some support. Community on Whatnot is what makes this app so special. And I feel like you all make that happen. And so thank you for that. And last plug, please follow this account if you enjoyed this show. We've got a lot of really exciting shows lined up. You can go ahead and bookmark them so that you don't miss them. And yeah, and we will catch you at the next one. And again, Keaton, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Thank you, chat.
All right, chat, let's get this raid going. All right, peace, everybody.